And it's hard. I've been trying to find that balance or the identity within that, where it's like I don't want to come off like, oh, I'm anti-Muslim or anti-Arab, but I'm human. I want to. My comedy is about my human experience, and so I might talk about being Muslim on stage if I find something funny that I might talk about what So it's, some people, like, I've met Muslim comedians and they sit there and I'm assuming they're like, these jokes are all Muslim. They only perform at MSA events, which is like Muslim. You know what I mean? And they make money. That's their pocket, and maybe that's just who they are and they embrace it. I'm not like, oh, you're not a real comedian. I'm not like that to them. You know what I mean? But that's just not me though. And I'm also not the most religious dude in the room. Like I'm very, I'm like learning as I go. You know what I mean? Like I know Muslims who are like, yeah, I pray 5 times a day, and they do everything correctly. And like I wish I could be more of that. And at the moment I'm not. At the moment.
I like a good Jesus joke.
All of our letters are meaningless choices because I cannot read them with you. We used to get drunk at a party. You were just there because you lonely. Guess I just took you for granted. Now you act like you don't know me. We used to get drunk at a party. You were just there because you lonely. I guess I just took you for granted. Now you
Real Rap Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of the Real Rap Podcast. We are out here in these streets right now. I'm joined by a very special panel. I can't wait to get to this one started. So we're going to go immediately right away with my guy, my ace, my ABC. This is your boy. This is going to be Tito.
What's up?
Jorda Sid.
Just Tito, but yeah.
He doesn't want his government name out there.
Nah.
For various reasons.
Our taxes.
Yo, do me a favor, man. Let the people know a little bit about yourself. How long you been in the comedy game? How long you been in Chicago?
All right, Tito. You can find me on Instagram at Tito's Tales. Do a bunch of cool shit there. I've been in Chicago fucking since I was like 3 or 4 years old. I've been doing comedy for about 4.5 years. I don't give and take. And I'm ready to get this fucking party started.
Where did you come from originally?
I was born in Mexico, half Puerto Rican. And then we immigrated from Mexico when I was like 3 years old.
Gonna be honest, I never knew there was Puerto Ricans in Mexico.
Nah, my mom was living. My mom was living in Mexico.
Like, would you ever? I mean, anybody can go anywhere, but that throws me off.
Now today is more common, but back in like the late 70s when my mom was there, that was definitely uncommon, very uncommon.
Yeah.
And so my dad scooped it and married her, and then we left a few years later.
Ah, man, that's what's up, man. All right, and then to my left, I'm joined by Younis. And do me a favor, help me out with the last name, bro.
Daher. But you can just say Younis.
Yeah, there we go. Nobody here wants to give out their last names. We're going to get to the bottom of that for sure.
Let's keep the government name out of this.
Watch the door get kicked in immediately. They're here. We have
got them, yeah. That's funny.
Yo, all right, so let the people know what you got going on, how long you been in the city, how long you been in the comedy game.
I've been in comedy since what? Damn, that's a good question. Maybe 2019. I'm bad at math, so I'll let you guys do the math on that. How long have I been in the city? Technically, I'm living in the suburbs right now, but I damn near am in the city every day. So
yeah. But
I've been in the Chicago suburbs, like I said, since 2016, maybe 20. No, I just lied. 2014. 2014. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just been trying to get better. That's all I can say. Just with comedy, I wish I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm very bad at time. Like I'm very bad at like I don't even know what day it is today. It's Friday, Saturday.
No,
like,
I mean I knew there was something up when you said you're bad at math and you couldn't figure out 2019 to 20.
I just fucked up.
Like, what are you talking about?
3, bro.
Yeah. This needs to get show how dumb I am. That's what I'm kind of like. I'm like, you know what? Let me show the people I'm not smart. Like
straight up though. Big shout out to Terminal 5. I think it is, yeah. and your bros. Zaid and Rami.
Yep.
Man, you guys sold that show out.
Yeah, this was Madison Street Theater. We just did it. January 22nd.
I love Rami.
Show that Saturday. And
yeah, those are the guys.
Oh, you met Rami before?
Yo, Rami's the cousin of my friend, one of my best friend's wife. I've seen Rami. I've kicked it with him at weddings and shit.
No way.
Yeah, and I've been following him for a minute.
That's
He's
such
funny.
a small world. Yeah, Rami's
and I met him at a bunch of open mics too, and he's like, "Hey, I do comedy." I was like, "Word!"
That's
and then
so
I started
wild.
following him. I was like, "Oh, you're funny as fuck."
Yeah,
dude.
he was supposed to be on today.
Rami's my guy, bro.
He's out there trying to be somebody.
Yo, there's a video of dude with like a big ass fur coat on the Laugh Factory stage, bro.
That's Yazid.
No,
The fur coat dude is Yazid.
Yazid?
Yeah, you know Yazid. I mean, honestly, they all look alike at this point. All these Arabs,
I
man.
thought it was Rami.
Yo, as a matter of fact,
while
you're saying that, if you would have told me you was the Puerto Rican one and you was the Arab cat, I'd have believed that too.
This edible's kicking in, which is great.
Hey, but you guys ended up selling out that show, having some success.
200 sold out, and that's what. By the way, so we were doing that since this was our sixth sold out show. Like we've been, we just stopped because of the pandemic, and then we couldn't get a theater for that whole 2020 all the way till literally that few months ago. So we were doing it. We first started out with Victory Gardens Theater. It's like about 108. We had sold that one out. And then we did like another one in October. Then we did another one in January, and they're all like 100, 200 seats. And then the pandemic happened, so we stepped back. We waited.
Yeah, pandemic fucked everything.
Yeah, so this January was our first show back in 2 years? Has it been 2 years? Yeah.
Give some game, because there's a lot of comics that also watch this and producers, and give some game to the people. How did you guys end up being so successful with that show? Is it based around your community? Did you get a lot of new people to come out?
I can answer. So what happened is I don't know what day we started. 2019 is when we really all started. I was 2-3 months into comedy, and I met Rami. And then I just wanted to throw a show during the summer. That 2019. I was like, yo, Rami, I just want to throw a show. Mind you, I didn't even have 5 minutes of material at the time. I really didn't. And then we were like, let's just rent out a theater in August and see what happens. And then literally maybe a week before the show, I finished my set. I'm like, okay, I have 10. You know what I mean? 10 minutes. And there's 5 of us, so we're all doing 10, 15 each. So we get about an hour of a show.
Who hosted?
We take turns. Like last show, Rami hosted. The show before that, our Momo hosted.
Who hosted the first show?
Momo, one of our guys, Momo. He just was very high energy. We're like, let him host. It'll be fun. And then the reason we did it was because one, we weren't being booked. Granted, we were still very new into it, but we're like, instead of waiting for opportunity, let's just rent out a theater and see what happens. It was literally just let's just see what happens. And then 2 weeks before the show or 3 weeks before the show, we sold 100 tickets. We're like, what the hell? People are coming. And then we just kept doubling down. We're like, all right, let's get new material.
This is why I love immigrants, bro.
Yeah,
that's why I love these dudes, bro. These dudes should show up and be like, all right, let's make a castle. Let's build a castle. Let's fuck everything else. Let's just make it happen.
All three of us end up vibing a lot over at the Rev Room. And that's
fun.
shout
out to Rev Room.
Shout out to Rev Room.
Shout out to Julia.
And that's shout out Julia. That's that's like an immigrant backed heavy show, between the audience and between the so it's like a whole movement, with your because you also like to produce shows and everything too, but you're already ingrained in the people, man. You already got a history as the party animal. From way back. I thought you might have been bullshitting about that, man. But then other people is like, yo, Tito used to have Project X level.
Yeah, I lived pretty wild in high school, and I used to have a DJ booth in my basement, and I pimped it out, turned the basement into a club.
No way.
And then I was just throwing these massive ragers, and then I became known throughout literally northern Chicago. Just as the guy because we were very good at swimming, right? For example. And then in the locker room, I remember after state.
How old were you at this time?
This was 17, 18. Okay. I remember after state, the entire locker room. After finals, we're like, hey, we're all gonna go to Tito's. Does anybody know who Tito is? And I'm changing and shit. I'm like, oh, y'all, that's me. And okay, and I had easily 200 people in my house.
Wow, that's why.
From all over the state, swimmers, athletes, girls. It was crazy. And that was just one of the many parties that I threw.
Damn.
And it just followed me forever. And now it's legendary because I had a New Year's party that was fucking legendary.
That's so wild.
So how fun are drugs, and what is your favorite?
I mean, honestly, I wasn't doing too many drugs back. Now I do a little bit more drugs, but I think a good Molly, a good sourced Molly.
I like that he said it like it was a fine Chardonnay.
You know what I'm saying, with the crystals, with the brown.
Little Sauvignon Blanc with your mushroom.
You gotta taste it with the tip of your tongue. It's really just a little bit. It's like grease. So yeah, good Molly, but I don't do too many drugs like that no more.
Yeah,
I just like to party.
In the gym a lot. Yeah.
I be in the gym. I be eating healthy. I'm trying to recover and trying to just stay young forever.
That's nice, because we was just talking about if you're about ready to check out, would you sign into the metaverse, man? That's an ill concept. Do you guys honestly think they'll be able to upload like whatever the spark is that makes you a you? Are they gonna be able to keep that going in the near future?
It's like, but they're afraid of the soul aspect. That's what I think is like. How are you gonna transfer someone's? Now just
right.
I don't know. Like I might sound weird, but like I
no.
feel like you could maybe replicate. Like they'll get to a point where they can make AI that looks just like you.
Yeah.
That can probably think like you. All of those stuff, but like. I think the missing piece is the soul. You can't
whatever the thing is that make me say like I'm me and I'm alive right now. Like, is that ever gonna cross?
Because I just watched the movie with Mahershala Ali where he played. It's called Swan Song, like where the whole point of the movie was they're uploading his consciousness to them, whatever type of artificial intelligence, because he's gonna die. But I don't want to ruin the movie. I think it's in the trailer. But he doesn't want to die, but he doesn't want his family to know that he's dead. He wants his family to like to not get that traumatic experience. He wants his kid to be still raised with a dad, whatever. So he decides without telling his family that he'll just die off, but he'll put this AI in the house. And so his family...
But like in like a toy? Like a Roomba?
No, you look at...
Like, can you imagine being raised by a Roomba, bro? Like, he's like, my son, I want you to be a great man.
You drop something, don't worry, I'll get it.
You and these fucking peanuts.
But the point of the movie was like they made the artificial intelligence so like you can't distinguish this Mike Knight from this AI Mike Knight, and then your family doesn't know, so they don't have to deal with the hardship of you being gone. And you know, it's like it was like an experimental. Like this was so in the future. He's like the second person. They're doing that too. And I don't know. I was like, would I do that? Would you do something like that? Like,
I just don't. I don't see it this crossing over into whatever that is without it being lost in translation somehow.
oh,
I think it would be just
lost. What if it doesn't get lost?
How are you ever gonna prove it? You end up facing the same consequence of just regular life, right? If somebody's like, "All right, I'm about to upload you on a computer," hey, am I gonna be the same on the other side? I don't know. Press play.
press play.
Yeah, let's see what happens. You know.
Yeah. I was curious to know what happens if his son finds out later on that his real dad, because they don't do that in the movie. They just, you know. But I'm like, damn. Imagine you wake up and your dad's like, by the way, I'm artificial intelligence. Like, I don't know how to deal with that. But yeah, sorry.
That would be a trip.
Yo,
are either one of you guys like super religious or spiritual or?
I would say I'm spiritual, very spiritual, and religious to a certain degree. You know.
No,
I'm
I'm in between. I'm in between.
What are you?
Guys,
how would you describe what you have?
I think
it's like a disease. What do you have?
Yeah. Which one do you got? I mean, honestly, I don't remember what the term is for it, but I'm like, flip a coin for the most part. You know, it's the chicken and the egg.
Yeah. Well, there's truth to certain things. Everything's connected. We're all energy. This all came from nothing and it's going back to nothing.
Definitely sounds like somebody that did mushrooms.
Yeah.
Hey!
A lot of mushrooms.
And there's just an energy that like it's a thread that goes through it all. And we're just happen and to be lucky enough to have consciousness of it all. And then there should be some gratitude for it. But people create fucking religions and like forms and like, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta wear that. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? We just experienced this shit.
It gets muddy a little bit.
We just experienced this shit. You should be happy for it. If not, whatever. Try to be a good person because then the fucking lights go off. Some people think you come back. I don't, and that's it.
So you
there
think
you
when you pass away, it just goes blank? It just boom.
You're like a drop of water and you just go back into the fucking ocean, into the all ofness, the all of it and nothingness of it.
So the end is just like the beginning.
You might just go back into you just might like tunnel and you come back out as a new baby and you're crying because you're like, I gotta do this shit again.
I am curious. So I'm assuming you're Muslim background, right? In the comedy world, so to my ignorance, right? It seems like there's stringent laws and practices that go along with the Muslim faith.
Yeah.
When that translates over into comedy, or if you have like a majority Arab or Muslim audience, how does that translate over?
So for me personally, I'm a comedian who happens to be Muslim. There's Muslim comedians. I'm a comedian who happens to be Muslim. I'll make jokes. Like my last set, I had Jesus jokes. I make fun of Palestine. I don't sit there and be like, I'm gonna make Muslim jokes. Or I'm not gonna sit there and write a really great joke and be like, the Muslims might be mad at me for this one. If it's funny, I'm gonna go based off that, you know. And I don't want to. and it's hard. I've been trying to find that balance or the identity within that, where it's like I don't want to come off like, oh, I'm anti-Muslim or anti-Arab, but I'm human. I want to. My comedy is about my human experience, and so I might talk about being Muslim on stage if I find something funny. That I might talk about what So some people, like, I've met Muslim comedians and they sit there and I'm assuming they're like, these jokes are all Muslim. They only perform at MSA events, which is like Muslim. You know what I mean? And they make money. That's their pocket. And maybe that's just who they are and they embrace it. I'm not like, oh, you're not a real comedian. I'm not like that to them. You know what I mean? But that's just not me though, And I'm also not the most religious dude in the room. Like I'm very, I'm like learning as I go. You know what I mean? Like I know Muslims who are like, yeah, I pray 5 times a day, and they do everything correctly. And like I wish I could be more of that. And at the moment, I'm not. At the moment,
I like a good Jesus joke.
Hell yeah.
Especially when the comedian nails it.
Yeah.
All right.
Holy moly.
Oh Jesus.
How is it doing? Because you do a lot of comedy, like out in like, because you're always in Mexico.
I'm always in Mexico, Puerto Rico.
Blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
So do you do stand up in Spanish too?
No, I've tried. It's not good.
Okay.
It's just I don't have the way they like
The
to
lingo of it.
Yeah, the lingo of it. I mean, I'm fluent, but I don't live there, so I don't have like the loquialisms and the vernacular.
Are you the same person speaking in English as you are speaking
in Spanish? Yeah, in group settings for sure. I have the same kind of like wit and like jokiness about it, but when it came to stand up, it was just maybe I was in my head. I also went up after this guy that has like 3 Netflix specials that he just walked.
I'm sorry about that.
He just walked in the room and I was like, oh shit. And it was my first time doing it in Spanish. The room was packed. I was nervous. I was like, that's not going to be good. But yeah, I do that. I do it in English down there a lot. There's a lot of expats, a lot of these little beach towns that have like overloaded with all these digital workers and retirees and shit. And so you put up flyers and you have a show and it'll be like 4 or 5 of you, but it'll be like 100 motherfuckers that show up, dude. It's crazy. Yeah. It's probably the place where I've done my best 20-minute sets is in Mexico. 20, 25 minutes. Because one, it's relatable. I can talk about my experience without having to like update the whole crowd.
Right.
As they're kind of used to living there. And Puerto Rico has a tiny little scene, but it's growing. But I think Mexico is like, yo, it's the shit. I want to take a bunch of comics with me. I want to do like a little tour down by the end of October so we can do Dia de los Muertos. Do a Dia de los Muertos
I'll learn
show.
Spanish. I'll go.
You don't even have to. With the places we go.
Just spell the word socks over and over again. SOCKS, baby. It sounds legit.
SOCKS.
Just change the octaves and stretch a couple of SOCKS.
That's what it is.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Speaking of though, because you were touching on a point that I think I've touched on the show a few times, where you were saying, hey, there's certain Muslim comedians that are only going to cater to a particular audience, and I see certain comics that are only going to cater to this culture, that audience, this and that, and with that, so actually I was wondering, I think Whoopi Goldberg just got popped for talking about the Holocaust, and she was saying on somebody's show, I think it was her show, that she just got like taken down from, that she didn't think the Holocaust was about race. And then she ended up getting fired for that. I mean, I don't know why you would just come out. Why you would come out on daytime TV.
There's one rule about the Holocaust, and that's to not talk about the
mind
Holocaust,
your
bro. Let's just stop it. It's just stop opinionating on it. Just stop, like, honestly talk. Don't even say it. Just be like, okay, it was a thing. It happened. Moving on.
Wait,
that's how they're making you feel about it.
I'm mad ignorant, but I thought, isn't Judaism a religion? I thought he was trying to kill off Jews. I didn't.
Yeah, but it was racial. It was racial. Everything at the end of the day for the Nazi regime.
There was I see what you mean.
Racially charged by the blonde hair, blue eyes, and then there was blonde hair, blue eyed Jews. And they were like, yeah, but you're Jewish, so you can get the bucket. You know what I'm saying?
It could be both. Okay.
It was a little bit of both.
What was her statement? Do you remember what she said word for word? Or I honestly didn't read.
Just basically that it wasn't about race, because there was people that looked like them that they did this to again.
I think what she was getting to, my interpretation of it, is that based on just skin tone, she was equating race to like skin tone.
Yeah.
And being that somebody of Jewish heritage will probably have white skin, it's not race. It was more of a culture thing.
Damn. Okay.
Or a religious background, got fired up, got fired out, for that. But there's a lot of sensitivity to it, right?
Yeah.
In my eyes, I think comics in general are like the last guardians against like the First Amendment. Your right to say whatever it is that you're gonna say. Now you'll have to answer for it. You can get in trouble for it or whatever.
She has the right to be wrong. You know what I'm saying? She has the right to be wrong. But what is this suspended for 2 weeks? Like you kicking me out of school for 3 days because I fucking said a thing. Like, this is my job. What are you gonna do?
So she gets suspended or whatever she's got going on right now.
Just 2
Joe
weeks.
Rogan.
How do you feel about what
Flip
happened
it
with
around.
Joe Rogan? Because you're a comedian, and then you know.
Leave Joe alone or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, leave Joe alone. He said, you know what? It's funny. I had this conversation with one of my friends. She's great. I love her to death. But she was really going off on Joe. Okay. And I replied, and I was like, let's talk about this or whatever. And long story short, I was trying to see her points, but she's like, I had an ex-boyfriend who would listen to him all the time, and honestly, I'm sick of his cis heteronormative bullshit. And I'm like, none of those words are real. Like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, nothing you just said. What do you mean? You're talking about a straight white dude talking like a straight white dude? Then you know what I'm saying? I'm like, and he's a comic, so I mean, I don't even think of him as white, to be honest. He's just a dude that just does dude shit.
Yeah, for me, I saw the video, the first one where he was saying the N-word, and I'm like, you fucked up. You're not supposed to. You shouldn't. I don't like. It just made me feel uncomfortable when people that are saying, and he was comfortably saying it. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, all right, but then he knew that was a mistake. But then when he did the Black Apes, what did he say? Like, I went to a neighborhood and it felt like Planet of the Apes. I was like, dude, that's like racist. Like, that's, I don't know. I find it funny.
It is.
And then he himself, if you watch the full video, he's like, that was racist, and then kept going. I'm like,
afterward. Well, so what I try my best to do is not get knocked off my pivot by the internet trying to tell me how I should feel or what I should think, especially if it's a bunch of chopped up clips out of context, right? Yeah. I will get, we're comics. Yeah. So you could take anything I say, you take any night that I perform,
you cut it,
and then cut it up. It's a wrap for me.
Of course.
I'm losing it all.
That's what I said. I'm like, if you take everything, I'm like, he's been talking for 12 years.
That's true.
If you go through all of it, you're going to find things you're not going to like, and you could easily splice it. They did the same thing with the Young Turks. I don't know if you've seen the Young Turks, but it's like this progressive news YouTube channel, whatever. And there was like a minute clip of their people saying the N-word, blah, 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 but they're progressives and no one was saying shit. And you're like, yeah, because this is a person with a lot of eyeballs on him, and it's easy to start yelling because of fucking whatever. Yeah. I don't know. I don't get it. I think he's fine. I think he's gonna be okay.
Watch Joe Rogan when he's so quote unquote culturally canceled at the moment, but if
I think if anything, it helped him.
Would you still watch it?
I mean, I still listen to his shit. Who cares? Yeah. Like, listen, man. I'm not in my feelings about words, and this is a word that I need to be in my feelings about. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, with the context, it matters. But at the end of the day, when he does a 4-hour fucking thing, there's a lot of information there, and if he jokes around and takes things like 1-2 times out of context, for me, I'm like, man, it's not gonna move my fucking.
We could play the sticks and stones game all day, but every culture has a word you use amongst yourselves that if somebody else uses it in context, out of context, and people are gonna be rubbed the wrong way. You know what I mean? Sure. And you're allowed to do it inside of your bubble, your community or whatnot. Right. I mean, you could think how many do they have for the Hispanic community? How many do they have for the Arab community, the Muslim community? And it's all fun and good in your thing. If you say it out loud, so if we're being completely honest, when it comes to any hip hop artist, any rap artist, any given one of their songs is gonna have the N-word in it 783 times, right? And if you're a superstar hip hop artist, guess who's supporting you? It ain't black folk. It ain't 13% of the American population.
It's like white middle school kids.
It's 16-year-old white kids that is, while they're in their room playing Call of Duty, they are screaming and shouting at the top of their lungs, living in that vibe and being who they is. So if one of them happens to come out, I'm not saying that's who Joe Rogan is, but to be under the impression, you know what I mean? That it's not being said.
Yeah, that's fact.
But Splice would be like, he said it, shouldn't he have said it? Who knows? The context was taken out. but I don't think he was doing it to be like, F that N-word over there, took my parking spot or whatever. He was just, you know what I'm saying? It's not, they're saying a racist thing and then being an actual racist.
Is anybody not racist?
That's what I'm
24
saying.
hours a day,
I'm
7 days
bro,
a week.
the things that go through my head when I see someone cut me off in the highway and I pull up and I see who exactly they are, the shit that goes in my head, I'm like, oh, I knew it.
Not even racist or racial. I am an ism or an ist to a level depending on what's happening. You know what I mean?
So how do you right now, if Joe Rogan like asked you to be on the show, you'd be like, nah, because you said that. Like,
I wouldn't. As a matter of fact, one, I would. Joe Rogan, you're welcome at any given time, any moment that you want to be on. But on top of that, if he was, let's say he was a blatant racist, which is a diamond in the rough. It's a rose out of the concrete. You're not going to find that. We were just talking about that. When I had Olivia on the previous episode, and she said, I grew up in a town full of racists. If I asked everybody she was thinking about which one of you were racist, nobody would raise their hands.
Yeah.
So if I was able to get somebody who was outwardly racist and felt a way against a culture, I would definitely love to tap into that person's psyche, find out, ask the questions like, where does this come from?
I think that's a beautiful approach. It's like that's why I don't like cancel culture to a certain degree because of the fact like if someone messed up, whether it be Joe Rogan or whoever, whatever happens, I feel like we should give that person like the human. You're still human. We messed up. Let's talk about this.
Yes.
Like I hate when they just cancel, you're done, no one wants to hear from me. It's like, yo, let's grow from this. Joe, because Joe has so much power, he could really make some big changes and then like change the mindset of his father. Like he could really make a good impact, you know what I mean, if we help him grow or whatever, tell him where the mistakes are. And I know for a fact he's never
you can't say it ever again. Is that good? Done.
With the,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's basically what does he need to learn? He's not an ignorant, unknown person.
No, but I'm saying use that moment to teach others, not just him. Instead of like canceling him and getting rid of him. Like I remember I was reading something like one of the NBA owners said the N-word on a phone call or something like this is.
They took his team, bro. They took his
and I'm like, bro, that could have been a moment to like really tap into that. Because now what happens?
But he said it in a very racist context.
He did.
That was like, oh, he thinks he's better than them, and he's using it derogatory.
He's 1,000% wrong, and he could go to hell. But the thing is, like, what happens is now all the other racists go into hiding.
Yeah.
Now it becomes more discreet and more subtle. Like racism exists. We were talking about it's just more subtle nowadays. It's no longer blatant in your face. Yo, Mike, da 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 da. It's more like, yo, Mike, you can't get the job. Yo, Mike, you can't come into this neighborhood. Right. They just changed the way that they are racist. You know what I mean? Like it's more subtle. Like and I think we just gotta start addressing it. And I was talking to a Palestinian yesterday at my job because I did a Palestine joke and I was making fun of Palestine. It's like, yo, it's a touchy subject, And I'm like,
I was making fun of Palestine to a Palestinian.
And I love Palestine. Like I went to the protests, everything. I'm pro-Palestine. I want them to be free. But like, if we don't take time to, joke about certain things, if we don't laugh at it, they're gonna laugh at us. You know what I mean? If me and a Palestinian can't laugh at the situation, he made fun of Iraq, I make fun of Palestine. If we can't do that, then everyone else is gonna point and laugh at us, and we're just gonna be mad. Like we gotta address it. You know what I mean? And have that that aspect to be like let's talk about it. And that's why I love comedy because I go on stage, I want to talk about anything and everything and do it in a.
I think one of the shows I was hosting at the Red Room, I think you and the Bros was out, and then like an Israeli comic got up there and was doing this thing. It's like chairs weren't moving, like tomato cans weren't flying around.
Especially, the intention is what matters. You know what I mean? I think like if I see whoever going up on stage and doing whatever joke, it's like, are they going on that stage to really try to make us laugh and we all have a good time and connect, or are they up there with an agenda? Yeah. Are they like if the let's say that Israeli in that situation was like, I'm gonna go, there's 4 Palestinians, I can't wait to call them this and piss them off and make fun of them, then that's wrong. Yeah. But if he's going up there, it's like, yo, man, I'm Israeli, we're also this and this, and he has a different intention, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Even if he maybe messes up here and there, I'm like, he's at least trying to address it.
Can we be honest? Like, you're not going to cancel human nature, and cancel culture is the new racism. It's 24 hours, 7-day-a-week access to the human collective, and you're just picking out something that you don't like at the time. It's like Vegas, bro. It's on nonstop, and as soon as you take a position on something, have you ever had somebody like an old teacher that you didn't like was like, 7 + 3 is 10. You're like, fuck you, bitch, it's green. Like, you may not have caught that it was 10 because your math skills are horrible. But sometimes I just don't like hearing somebody tell me what it is I should think. Even if it's right, I'm like, just suck a fat one.
I don't know, but you might get this, but like, just the fact that we're having so much energy put into the context of a comedian's words, like energetically across the country, is such a fucking privilege. It's such a lucky elite way of thinking about the world when the rest of the world is fighting for way different shit. Physically in agony from not eating, from no food, from bad gut. Like, the fact that we can sit here and even just discuss the context of a word from a guy on a show is like,
but words do matter, though. Words do matter. You know, they do. Like, I'm
saying they do matter, but like, it's like, this is the most privileged shit in the world. I come from Mexico. And in Mexico, their problems are like, we have to pay the cartel to sell candy on the beach, bro. It's like some real shit's going on in the world. And that, I mean, that's something I've been thinking about a lot, is like, are these things serious? And they are. Can things be better? They can. But look around. Things are pretty fucking good. Like, relatively good. And the fact that we even have this conversation, I'm like, nowhere in the world, baby.
I was on a double date not too long ago.
You had 2 dates in one time?
I'm just a pimp like that. But I'd like to introduce you to her.
This is chocolate.
Now we're together. But the other guy that was with his old lady, he was Russian, right? And we're sitting there, we're just chopping it up, man, having all the things you're not supposed to talk about. And he was like, yeah, man, blah blah blah. He had been in the country for a number of years, and he was like, man, fuck America. And my immediate thought, I didn't correct him, I didn't get tight. My immediate thought was, you lucky son of a... That's exactly why you're here.
Yeah, you can
go back to Russia. You can't even go back to Russia and say, fuck my own country.
Nope.
You're dead. Right. You came to America voluntarily, by the way.
Yep.
To a country where you can say, fuck this country.
Yeah.
And that's what people fought and died for.
Dude, you know, that's what I'm saying. Is like,
it's the best, worst system, in my opinion.
This is so good that you got fucking hot water at your crib. You got food you can go get for almost nothing. There's no tanks on the corner. You understand? Like, anywhere in the country, you got a Subway, a McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many comforts.
It's the hope that it's the belief you can do better.
And it's the belief. Like, can we do better? Yeah, but look where we came from. I've fucking been here forever. Look at what they've gone from. And then at the same time, like, he said a thing, but at the end of the day, we've given this so much attention and energy. The fucking planet is literally melting, bro. And like, we out here.
You got to give it up to any country that could put Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker in a movie.
Hell yeah.
And make sequels, and they're all bust.
And they're bangers.
They're all busting, bro.
Best movies.
They were great movies. Could that movie be made today? Probably not.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, they had some some moments in there, but people get chosen and picked to be whatever it is going to be canceled, man. It's just.
But does anything actually get canceled? Like, okay, can you take someone's show away? Sure, but like, if you have your own platform, excuse me,
Ja Rule gets canceled. You know what I mean? But like,
I think he's
just
not popping. I'm never be like, yo, Ja Rule's in town.
Eminem is canceled. Ja Rule, and then 50
He might have been able to come back until Dave Chappelle. Like 50 Cent got him pretty bad.
He did.
But then when he was about to stand on his own 2 feet, Dave Chappelle was like, "Where is Ja?"
Classic.
And then he killed him. And then he got stuck in that fire thing, and now nobody trusts Ja. No one trusts Ja.
Yo, man. How long? So the Super Bowl's coming up. This week,
tomorrow.
As a matter of fact, tomorrow. How long are we gonna have professional contact sports, man? How long is football gonna last?
Football's gonna get cleaner.
This tender-headed world.
Tender. I think it's gonna get cleaner. Football is just exciting and fun. I think that sport's always gonna stick around. In terms of the other sports, I mean, I prefer hand-checking and basketball, but they're all just gonna be super all offensive. Everything's about scoring points.
Do you think there's a moment in time where the Super Bowl's competing with the number 1 and number 2 Madden players?
Gamers. I think it's getting there. Oh yeah.
I think it's more actually. Then the finals of like Final Fantasy World Championship is like 60 million.
Also, in a worldwide point of view, football is not even watched as much as soccer.
No, not even.
Like, so I could definitely see EA Sports being.
I like how the whole world does know about the Super Bowl and to a certain degree watches it.
Oh yeah.
Like, you always see the Super Bowl somewhere. No matter where I've been in the world, when the Super Bowl's been on, they've been playing it at the bars, even though you're in like Colombia or like.
Are you guys
whatever.
big into sports? Like, do you love watching sports? Are you guys big into like? Did you see the
I
Bulls game?
used to be really big
Yeah,
into
back
sports.
in the
Now
day.
I'm into sports highlights.
Thank you.
Now it's just on my phone.
I do
like,
the
I'm
10
not,
minute.
Like,
I do the
who
10-minute
has
thing.
3
How about the
hours to
UFC
watch
though?
a game?
I love the UFC.
I can't get enough of the UFC.
That's what's
I'm a
different.
huge fan of the
Yeah,
UFC.
somebody
man.
said, I don't know if it was on a. I heard it from someone. I think when somebody told me where it's like if you're watching, let's say, a soccer game, but then a fight breaks out, you're gonna watch. I forgot who said this.
I forgot. I know
and
what
I
you're
was like,
talking
that's
about.
so true because it's like if a fight breaks out, you're gonna leave the soccer game and watch the fight, and then once the fight is over, all right, I'll watch. Even if it's happening at the same, you know what I mean? That's how I love.
In my eyes, like the UFC is now this is a stretch, but it's the closest comparison to like comedy. You know what I mean? Like a sports team playing foot hockey, soccer or whatever you want to call it, or regular football or basketball or whatever. That's like an ensemble. That's like a what's that thing called? Improv.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You have to share the audience, share the laugh, share the what. But when it's UFC, it's you in there imposing your will. And there's no backup. There's nothing else. And if you bomb, it's lights out. You know
someone
what I mean?
in that ring is the audience, other person is the comedian.
The audience is the audience.
I would much
And
rather be
your
a comedian.
opponent is your ability to tell your ability to tell your jokes and get it out there.
Okay.
But it's you by yourself.
It's
And-
something fun about that. That
Yeah.
just being like on stage when it's all you. Like when I fuck up on at a T5 show, even though I have 5 friends with me, we're not performing at the same time.
Right.
It's just you, and I so because then you can't blame anyone. You can't even really blame. You could say, "Oh, the audience."
I
fuck
always
them.
blame the
you know?
audience. I always blame the audience.
Who's one of your favorite fighters? Any number of your favorite
I
fighters?
mean, I really love Khabib, but that's because I'm Muslim. You know, I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah, he's a monster. He's
he
an
beat
animal.
down McGregor, like whatever. Like, it's like a big
Yeah.
deal. But I did love McGregor too. I think he's super entertaining. Like I'll always watch a McGregor fight. You could hate him, love him. I'll always watch a McGregor fight. Israel's fighting tonight. Israel Adesanya. He's fighting.
He's fighting that New Zealander again.
Whitaker.
Right. Whitaker. Yeah.
It's gonna be a good fight.
When it comes to manifesting destiny, I don't think anybody's done it better than Conor McGregor.
oh,
That's the only reason I fuck with him. Because I liked him calling out his fucking KOs and shit while he was coming up. And I was like, this motherfucker the truth.
Yeah.
And then he came out and he came big. And, he wrote his shit out and then did the Mayweather thing. And then he's like, oh, fought and done.
Like, you ever wanted
Yeah.
something so bad that the universe just makes it happen for you?
Yeah.
Like, you just expected it to happen. Like, if you're playing basketball and you throw a shot up and
You know it's going.
it's
You
going
know
the
it's
moment
going.
it left your hands.
Yeah.
Or if you're about to have a set and you know you're about to crush
Yeah,
it, because
you can
got to
feel it.
hurry up and go do something else. You're like, let me go ahead and knock this out. Like, remember the first Matrix when he came back as the one after he got shot and he like flexed and the
moved
whole
different.
world flexed around him and
yeah,
whatnot?
he moved different. Yeah,
That's how, like, Conor McGregor, he's skilled for sure. He's got a low
He got in
gas
everybody's
tank,
head.
but like
he overpowered them mentally.
Yeah,
a lot.
man, he won the
dominating.
fight well before they ever stepped foot into the ring.
Yo, do you guys follow Hezbollah?
Hezbollah's ridiculous. I will kill everybody.
funniest-
That guy.
Little dude. Hezbollah is my
He is
favorite.
ridiculous.
Have you
bro.
seen? Did you see him trying to fight
That was
the
a hell
other?
of a punch too.
You see him trying to fight the other little dude at the
what's his
UFC
name?
fight, was like
forgot
2 or
his
3 weeks
name.
ago. Anyway, there's 2 of them. And they hate each
Yeah.
other, and they got in a fight the ringside. It was hilarious.
For a second, I thought you were talking about that dude, Islam, whatever.
No, I'm talking about the little tiny
the little dude.
Hezbollah.
Hezbollah. Yeah.
He's my guy, bro.
That would be funny if they really got that going as a
Yeah,
UFC
They got
fight.
him in there.
If they got it as a UFC fight,
guy.
they would
It would sell out.
quickly.
Like celebrity fights and whatnot, that is the wave now. I don't even know who there's 3 boxers that you really care
Yeah,
about.
this is how this is now, this is what we want. This is the crowd, the audience is now picking who we want to fight.
That's why it's interesting when you see a Jake Paul or a Logan Paul come in the ring and you're like, and then they're winning.
Bro, if we had this power 15, 20 years or whatever, we would have seen the proper Pacquiao Mayweather fight. We would have seen it, but instead that shit took years. But if it was just us and be like, hey, we'll all give you, 50 mil a piece or 70 mil a piece, just do it.
Yeah.
We would have seen that fight when we should have, and I think Pacquiao would have.
They definitely
Done
dropped
good.
the ball in boxing.
Yeah,
That
boxing
used to
is
be
you can't
like
trust
for real
boxing.
American
You can't trust
money.
boxing.
When
Yeah,
it's
you
too
can't
corporate
trust,
and like
you can't
will
trust boxing.
Floyd and what's it called fight, then they're gonna lose. Then lose this much money. I think like they both were
Yeah.
scared to because like when you lose once in boxing, it's pretty over.
I like watching the girls fight
Nice.
For some reason, I do. I just like
They're
seeing.
actually throwing down.
Yo, they fucking go.
They go up,
Bro.
Nunez,
Who's the
Nunez,
girl
she
that
just
was
lost?
Nunez was good.
She fought. Who did she fight? What's her name?
I like
don't
that
know
Rose
what
girl. Is she still
Rose
around?
Namajunas?
Yeah, she had like the
Rose is
the
dope.
ball
She
fade.
Rose is-
Rose, she was
a
dope.
killer.
She's dope.
But that
she's a
girl that
beast.
beat Nunez, I forgot her name, but she's from Chicago apparently. She's Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like, what? She pushed. Yeah.
She was throwing the hand. She was boxing Nunez face
Yeah.
off, bro.
That was.
I
dope.
love that. See, the dudes, it's scary because I'm a dude, so I don't want to like imagine what would I do in that scenario.
Yeah.
I'm always like,
I'll
"Ugh."
tell you, I would lose.
But when
I
it's
would-
two girls, I'm
it's-
so like just
Yeah.
watching two athletes go at it.
And they're
you know?
and they're fit and they're like they
Yeah.
got technique and they're killing it. Like they're dope. No, that's dope.
Mm.
What was that Asian girl that lost during the like? It was their first UFC fight back after COVID, and it was in Florida, and she was the champion at the time. The Asian girl was the champion. I forgot her name.
She was the one that lost to Rose.
She was the one that lost, but they were saying like they were booing her, like saying all sorts of racial slurs as she's walking on the stage because she was Chinese. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure she was
Wow.
Chinese, and it was that how like yeah, it was
Fans be
Speaking
acting
of,
crazy,
man,
bro.
speaking of, who this Aquafina chick?
Aquafina.
Her, her name, Shorty's name is Aquafina.
All right, so I did a thing on my Instagram about Aquafina because she got accused of basically using a black scent.
Have you heard this story?
nah.
She's Asian American. I think her descendant. She might be like Japanese, Korean,
Okay.
something like that.
Isn't
Either
she
way.
from like New York? Like
She's
born
from
and raised?
Brooklyn or
Okay.
the Bronx. She was raised there, so she doesn't have a black scent. She's New York.
She sounds like Jadakiss. But she just
And which is
little
endearing
Asian girl.
because she's very her, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And so she got accused of it by people that don't know this backstory of her. She had to come out and apologize and like took off her Twitter and shit.
Did it turn out she doesn't really have the Jadakiss accent? Like
No, she just talks like it's like
you can't do
Eminem.
that,
It's like
man.
because I
Yeah.
talk with an accent and grab on my balls. Like
that's
that's just who you are, bro. That's just who you are.
Yo, Valentine's Day, she calls you like, yo, what up, son?
Hey yo,
Hey, we finna meet at the restaurant.
Hey.
Yo, I'm about to be at the Olive Garden, God.
oh God, wow.
Is she bad?
Yo, grab me some biscuits. One.
Is she bad though? Is she a baddie? Like
Yo, I mean,
She's not bad.
when
I
it
mean,
comes
I'm
down
not-
to it,
yeah, I mean, I
you
would,
know,
we both like, hey, you know, hey, at the end.
Is culture specific to anybody, or are you allowed to partake of?
Man.
See, here's the thing. Here's the thing that kind of catches me off, right? When the Marvel movies, they had Black Panther came out, right? Fire movie, by the way.
great movie.
Shout out to Chadwick. Shout out to Michael B.
fella.
Jordan. Shout out to everybody that was in that movie, right? So Black Panther comes out. It's a whole movement. I was actually touched. It's not my my number one Marvel movie. It might be my favorite just because of the message, the portrayal, everything.
Yeah,
that
the
they
whole
had
thing
going
was
on.
amazing.
I felt something.
I
You
thought
know
it
what I
was
mean?
amazing.
When
It
I
was
watched it, I
beautiful.
felt something.
I cried.
Now, Black folks community took it over. It was phenomenal. It was fantastic. End of the day, Black Panther was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, two white guys.
interesting.
Yeah.
They created it, wrote him, created him from the ether. They created Hawkeye, that's
Yeah.
played by old boy. And the whatchamacallit, they created the X-Men, which is just a metaphor for the Holocaust, like goddamn, not the Holocaust, but a metaphor for civil rights.
Oh, okay.
Like Professor X is Martin Luther King. Magneto is Malcolm X. All the
Interesting.
mutants are slaves. You know what I mean?
Wow, I didn't know
so.
this.
And then the man, it got you.
But when it comes down to it, when they're talking about, all right, Aquafina's still in the black scent, you could flip around, and if you Jack Kirby and you Stan Lee, rest in peace to both of them, you could be like, well, you still in our character.
And making a lot of money off of it too.
Yeah. I mean, it's still whoever's running Marvel Studios. So are you allowed to share in other people's cultures? Is that
my God.
diluting the cultures?
That's tough.
It's just
one,
so
man.
annoying.
I don't know. How do you feel about it? What do you think? Do you think is it wrong for those two white dudes to make that? What do you think about the situation?
I agree. I mean, it's people, you'll forget easily because most people probably don't know that it was created by two. Don't even ask the question.
Did they give other writers credit? Was there like other people, that were writing it with them, or they're just the ones that
they generated this stuff from back? This is back in the
wild.
50s and 60s, bro. Like, so my thing is, I grew up in a military family. I grew up all around the world. I lived in Japan. I lived in like England, and I picked up a lot from other places. They pick up a lot from us. And especially these days now with social media and whatnot, and the whole world connectivity, you're gonna cross over into other people's cultures.
Right.
Like, what? Are you kidding me? I grew up on kung fu movies, Dragon Ball.
Culture's meant to be shared, bro.
You know what I mean?
Nothing's more. Like, this is a sign when you're like in Mexico, is like when you show up to my crib, like we'll give you a shot of tequila. It's just like, it's your first time at my crib. That's what we do. It's always about sharing. And if some white dude like, hey, I have tequila, this is what I do now, I feel like that's crazy. That's cool. Like, I don't think of it as like, oh, you're taking something that's mine. Maybe if it's like a sensitive from like a ritual or like a very like much more like connected to earth thing. And if you're not connected to earth and you're just using it because it looks cool, then it's like, okay, well, I can't really correct you, bro. This is your path in life. Whatever.
I would ask you, Younis. So, my pop side of the family, everybody's out in Philly. Going back and forth to Philly my whole life, right? A lot of big beards out there. A lot of 5%ers. Yeah. You know what I mean? That are a variant of the Islamic faith. There's some folks out there that believe, Black Israelites are the original. Right. This culture, that culture. But there's sections of the Muslim faith, especially out on the East Coast, that are follow probably a different edict, different rules. Right. How do you feel about that?
I think, what's interesting is Islam in America, the majority of Muslims in America are actually not Arab or brown or they're actually black. Like, I don't know if you know this. So it's, I think being Muslim is not an Arab thing. Being Muslim is just a religion aspect. So, and if you go to Mecca, like, which is our holy land, like, it's people from like Malaysia, people from all over
everywhere.
And that's, I think, what even changed Malcolm X. Like, when Malcolm X went to Mecca, came back, he was a different person because he was like, oh, this is a human. Like, remember when Malcolm was like, super, like, I don't even want to talk to white people.
Absolutely.
Like, and it was, and I understand it, I get it. But then when he went to Mecca and came back, he was like, oh, this is bigger than that, and so I think that's what's beautiful about Islam. And I'm gonna try to convert you guys, honestly, at this point.
I got a holy Quran in the house.
Hey, go crazy.
Just to have it.
So it's beautiful to me to see that happen. It's beautiful to see like a Asian dude who's like, yeah, I'm Muslim, he's speaking Arabic. Like, to me, I'm like, huh, he knows Arabic. Like, it's a beautiful feeling to me. You know what I mean?
How is Malcolm X viewed in the Arab culture? On that side.
I think him, Muhammad Ali, it was at
Ali
that time.
Boomba, yay, baby.
Like, Muhammad Ali is ride for Muslims love Muhammad Ali.
He's the Venn diagram of all of it. Yeah. From black culture, American culture, Islam. And then just fit in like that perfect amount of just all of it, and like a great dude. He's a hero, a legend.
So when he went from Cassius Clay and said, "I'm not fighting in this war," then changed
he was
his name
principled man,
stood under persecution. That was big.
He was a principled man by everyone's principles, by American principles, by Islam's principles, and by just a human. He's one
of the greatest humans of all time.
Of course, legendary.
He's iconic.
Legendary.
But, like, he could go. I think, if I'm not mistaken, like some Arab country, like literally was like, if he just showed up, he could sell out an arena just by him showing he's up. Just talking to the people. I think at one point, and this is like a real story, Saddam, because I'm from Iraq, Saddam had some American hostages. And
they sent Ali,
they sent Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was so respected that a dictator in Iraq was like, Muhammad Ali asked me to let them go. I'm gonna let them go. Fuck America, but Muhammad Ali, we love him. Wow. That's how powerful Muhammad was,
He's legend. He should have a fucking statue and a street named after him. Yeah. Every fucking city in this country.
So that's how we feel. I think I can say I can speak for a lot of Muslims that say it's very beautiful to see people from all over. I think that's what makes it beautiful, and so that's just my opinion.
So you're 25, so for the most part 9/11 is like a history. It's just something in the past that happened, right? So I don't even necessarily know if you would remember time before that as opposed to after that. Right. Is there still remnants of that in the culture? Like when you talk to your family members, older people?
For me, when the word 9/11 comes, even though it happened, I think I was 4 when it happened.
Right.
But that one single event changed my whole life because of that. America attacked Iraq. You know what I mean? Like it was that was one of the premises of like they have weapons of mass destruction.
Changed your life completely.
Yeah, and
it changed your life completely.
And then it affected everything after that because then when I came to America after that whole journey of going from Iraq to Yemen, from Yemen to Jordan, because I was just a refugee, we're trying to get to safety because of the war. When I finally came to America, then it's like, oh, you're Arab, we hate you because you did 9/11. You know, it was like a lot of that feeling of like people would they when they think of Arab and Muslim, they think of 9/11.
You should just be like, yeah, you should
Arab,
be
Muslim, Pakistani, anybody that vaguely resembles.
Looks like, even people that weren't Muslim, Sikhs were, they're not Muslims. They were because they had the beard and they looked a little bit
Punjabi, anything is
you know. So I know a lot of people that it changed. Like not me, but like I had uncles. Not I wouldn't say uncles, but like family friends that lived in the States who changed their name. Like they were Muhammad. Let's say that was their name. They became Mo. They used to have a beard, but they work in a corporate setting. They shaved their beard. That was like a real reality till this day.
You gotta survive, baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
You gotta
and
survive.
your beard's if you're a staunch follower of the faith, and your beard's not supposed to be marred or anything like that, right?
It's not like a rule. It's not like if you're Muslim, you have to have a beard. But it's because all the prophets had beards. So it's almost like you want to live in their footsteps, kind of their ethics. Or
Jesus had a gnarly beard.
Jesus had no beard from what we assume from the writing. But so I say that to say it definitely impacted the culture, and that's why it's beautiful now to see like the narrative get changed a little bit. To see like a show like Rami on not our friend Rami, but the show Rami on Hulu, and to see like Rami Malek played the dude from Queen. What's the movie? Bohemian Rhapsody. Like that's an Arab man. That's you know what I mean. And he got an Oscar. Like as an Arab, I'm like. What the narrative is changing? Like we're not just
and Freddie Mercury also Arab man.
Yeah, he was.
Did not know that.
Yeah,
he was. What they were Iranian.
I think Lebanese or Persian. A part of something.
Yeah.
But
look it up.
So it's cool to see that happening, and I get a lot of messages from like Arabs or Muslims or whatever. They're like, dude, it's so cool to see a Muslim person, Arab person doing comedy, and it's like not the normal route. You know what I mean? I mean, in general, none of us. It's always interesting to see anybody become a comedian in any race, but it's like it's even a little bit more because it's the rarity of it within our culture and within.
Yeah, because it's giving you a platform to speak your mind under a culture, I think that is kind of withholding some thoughts.
Facts.
We're so theatrical in America that if you get a chance to be on the spotlight and shine and be like, here's the highlights of this and that, you know what I mean? What my culture brings to the table, then it just makes it cool.
Yeah.
No.
And I hope it changed. Like, I don't think everyone should be a doctor. I don't think everyone should be like in our culture. It's kind of like embedded, and I know a lot of cultures as well. Like where it's like you got to be a doctor, engineer, and I'm like, not everyone should be a doctor. Like, if I was to become a doctor, you guys should be scared. You know what I mean? Like, I'm dumb as hell. Like, I'm not gonna be able to operate. Like, even
bro, I'm still tweaking off of 2019 to 2022. I don't want you clipping my fingernails, bro. Hold on, y'all keep the party going. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, do your thing. But how was it when you told your family? I was curious to ask you.
It's different, man. My brother, so my mom has 5. There's 5 of us. 2 with my dad, 3 with her first husband.
Okay.
They got like 15, 16 years difference.
Nice. Okay.
So my older brother, I never like lived with him or anything, but like I just knew him and growing up and we know each other and see each other. But like when I was young, my brother had like a sitcom in Puerto Rico.
Really?
He had like this short little lived sitcom. It was like 10 episodes or whatever.
Still super wild.
He got into acting, he got into theater, and then he got into stand-up and became like this legendary stand-up in Puerto Rico.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. But it completely missed me.
No, I feel like you're on that route though.
It missed me in terms of like living with that experience. I was a baby. I didn't get to hear. I hear it now when I go to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
His friends will be like, "Oh, you do comedy, yo. You got to hear about your brother."
So he's still in the culture of Puerto Rico, like a big.
No, he's into theater now. He produces theater.
Wow.
So he had that whole experience, but his experience was dark. Not dark, but I would say like bad because people took stuff from him.
Yeah.
Took ideas.
The classic.
Wouldn't pay him and the whole nine. But anyways, so when I do my whole soul searching when I'm 31 and I decide that I want to do comedy and give up like my career and everything, my mom was just like, all right, just know it can suck.
Because she saw it happen to her brother?
To my brother, her son.
Her son, yeah.
And she's like, just know it's a crazy world. And I was like, all right. And then no one really batted an eye because my brother already kind of like went through it.
Oh!
Hey!
Make the world laugh, baby. Hey, we see you, man.
Shout out, man.
What's up, mate?
Hey, don't try and come in on my show hijacking it like you got a name out here, bro. Nah.
Shout out, man.
Yeah, so anyways, that's my family didn't react to. In fact, my sister was the one that got me into comedy.
Really?
My closest sister.
What was the first comedian that you guys saw? Like you saw, oh my God, what is this? Who's that?
Oh, gee. First saw? I don't know, but I used to be big in Adam Sandler when I was little.
Okay.
But I never saw him and thought that's what I wanted
Wait, you saw
to
his
do.
stand-up or you saw his comedic movies?
I had his discs. I had his albums.
I remember that, man.
Wow.
They're all gonna laugh at you inside. I don't know what time.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, his like 3 albums that he came out with were fucking.
So you had the audio
yeah.
version of it. Okay.
I want to say the first special that I can remember seeing early on
Being
was
aware
Bill
of it.
Cosby himself. My folks had it like the bootleg of it.
Wow.
And it was the most notwithstanding anything going on,
No,
whatever.
of course. It's
but
the art of
the
it.
fact now that I'm in the game and I recognize it, he did a comedy special where televised where he walked out. He did not speak for the first like minute and a half, 2 minutes.
'Cause of
He
the
walked
standing
across the
ovation?
stage. No, he just walked across the stage, bro, making Bill Cosby faces.
Really?
That's how he opened his televised comedy special, bro.
Did you see-
He walked from one side of the curtain across the stage without looking at the audience, came back the other way, looked at him, made a Bill Cosby face,
It's
and then
killing.
did it killing.
Dude, did you see
televised?
Did you see the video of Bill Cosby when they released him from jail?
Oh my
And the cameras were like following him, and his lawyers were in front
He
of him,
did that like
and he's
that?
just walking. He's just like,
That was funny.
you
That
can't
was
help
funny.
it. You're like, fucking Bill, dude. Oh, it's fucking
I
Bill.
gotta try watching his stand-up again. I never got into his.
Everybody
stand-up.
that I
Yeah.
love and adore, they all go to Cosby.
Because you know
They
why?
all refer to Cosby.
You know when you watch stand-up and then you like see what's going on and whatever, and then you like do the research and everyone goes, yeah, Richard and yeah, Eddie and yeah, Bill. When I went back and watched Richard, I'm still a huge fan of Richard Pryor. When you go back and watch Eddie Murphy,
Yeah.
get the I'm like, I love it. Like it's funny. I can see the funny. With Bill, it resonate with me. I get it.
Yeah, I was
watch
the
it, I'm
same
like,
with
yeah, he's funny, but
George
knowing the
Carlin.
mechanics now
Yeah,
and
George.
going back and knowing the mathematics
I
of
see
it
what
all,
he's doing.
and you can take bits and pieces
Yep.
out of anything.
My
and be like,
my
wow,
game
that's
he's
my
a
game
master
changer.
comedian.
My game changer was BET's Comic View. Growing up,
was in
BET's
that? Who was
Comic
in that?
View
Def Comedy
with
Jam.
like
Was that the
Bruce
Kevin Hart?
Bruce, fucking Shuck It Duck It.
Shuck It Duck
I would
It,
watch
like-
that religiously. I think it was
Really?
like Wednesday nights or Friday nights. I would memorize them all.
Wow.
And then DL Hughley came, and then the Kings of
DL
Comedy, and I love DL. Like his crowd work, his like,
Ridiculous.
look at you big bird,
anybody.
looking at,
yeah.
and
Who
that
did
shit.
it for you?
So because I grew up in Rockford, I was around the area I lived was like a majority Latino neighborhood. So I used to love the George Lopez show in general. I was a big,
Okay,
just
okay.
that Fresh Prince.
Dang.
If you met me in middle school, you think I was Mexican of how much I was just so involved.
That was where you at.
You know,
That's where you were at.
and I love like the culture, and it's a lot of similarities between Mexican culture and Arab culture. A lot of similarities, so it felt like home. It felt like, and so I used to, and then one day I'm like going through the channels and I see George Lopez, but he's doing stand up, and I was like, whoa, it's not his show. This is him on
something
stage. I was
else.
like, is this part of the show? Is this? And I was like, what, like elementary school, you know? And then I just like fell in love with it.
It's
and
funny
then,
the George Lopez.
I think it was the special, the Why You Crying special, and it was hilarious.
Why
like
you
he
crying?
was, why you crying? You know, it was hilarious. And then from there, the bug bit me of like, I love watching stand up. And then I think
the first time I saw, I think it was Chris Rock. I went on for Valentine's Day. I went to Chris Rock, and he did this whole thing, and I was just sitting there while I was laughing. I was like, fuck, I want to do this.
Chris Rock.
I was like, fuck. I, like seeing it in live and seeing the performance, I was like,
How old were you when you were like, I want to do this? That's what I'm curious. Because when I watched George Lopez, I was just a kid. I was like, this is raw. I fell in love with the art, but I didn't think I could. When was that for you guys?
I was probably like in 4th or 5th grade.
Okay. Was it? You said Chris Rock?
No, that was Chris Rock. Was much later when I actually saw it, and I was convinced. I was like, I can do this. Like, this is not something that's out of my abilities. But since I was a kid, I just was a class clown, and I loved the attention. And then I would watch Comic View, and I would go the next day to school, and I would say all the jokes.
Yeah,
I'd just say all
classic.
the jokes. Just say all the. I didn't even know what I was saying.
How about you, Mike?
I was dumb, so I didn't start until I was 30, and I was locked up. and I was making everybody else that was locked up in there laugh with me. And this one guy that was 10 years younger than me was like, "Why aren't you a comedian, bro? Like when we get out of here, come find me. I do comedy. You need to start doing it."
Who's that person? Is that person? Are you still connected with that person? Are they Chicago?
Kind of not really. He's out in L.A. I ain't talked to him in Kill Theodric. He's out there in L.A. doing his thing, man. I see you, my boy. Yeah, man. He's he's taking off out there, bro. But
do you remember watching stand up and being like, "Oh my god"?
I've always been a fan. I've been expelled, the old class clown, the whole bit, right? And I would always watch it, and I never made the connection that was something that you could actually. I saw it, and I'm just a super duper geeked fan, like down to the nitty gritty. I would watch it over and over again. I had the same story of like going up in my folks' old box of stuff and finding like a Red Fox tape, finding a Richard Pryor tape. You know, listening to all these things, giggling by myself. Never put the two and two together until somebody was like, "Yo, why don't you get on stage, bro?"
And how was it when you went on stage for the first time?
My first 2 times getting on stage, I was still drinking real heavy, and so I just got wasted. Don't even remember. The third one, I was like, I can't do that again. And actually, you know, like, was in the basement with like a rolled up piece of paper, practicing in the mirror and the whole nine. Went out. I walked out. At the time, I had just got it. It was not too long after I got out. They repoed my car the night of the show. I invited mad people. I walk out my folks' house. My car's gone. I couldn't stop and walk back in and be like, "Hey, mom and dad, my life is trash right now." So I just kept walking, called a friend, took me down there. Had a blast, man. It was like it was a phenomenal show.
The bug bit you fully.
And I was like, "Oh, it's a wrap after that." Yeah. And a year later, came out here, performed the jokes and notes.
Oh, wait, where were you at the time?
I was in Omaha, Nebraska.
Really?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
The Midwest West Bubblefuck capital.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah. Shout out Omaha, yo.
Home of
That's where it all got started.
swimming Olympic trials.
And Huskers.
And the Huskers. We got corn, baby. We husking. We husking down here.
God,
That's crazy.
Bro.
I had no idea.
That's so
you really lived everywhere. Jesus Lord.
A little bit, man. But Chicago, where it's at, man.
What if I was like, I could see it? Oh, Nebraska, I can see it.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
Give me Nebraska vibes.
There's some actual. A lot of talent gets filtered through the Johnny Carson.
What's from that?
That one old the Workaholics kids came from out of there. Terrence Crawford, shout out to the Pound for Pound.
Avers came from here.
Yeah.
The Workaholics guy.
Huh?
Avers.
Don't be a jerk.
I'm just saying he's from Evanston. I know.
Fucking Dr. Google over here.
Yeah.
I'm just spitting facts. The internet's got to believe it. Yeah. And all of a sudden he's like, I don't know.
He's like, actually, Carson is from Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma.
Sure. Yeah, and Puerto Ricans live in Mexico.
You stupid ass.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Hey, man. But winding down, man, we're going to get into these guys' social medias. Had a blast on the podcast. As always, man, I'm so glad. And we had a dope conversation, man. So I can't wait to get this out here. Tito, please let the people know what kind of shows you got going on and your rooms you got going on. Let them know your socials, how they can get in touch with you.
You can follow me at Tito's_Tales. Just put in Tito's Tales, Tales. I just post a bunch of dumb shit in my shows and shit there. And do it.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Younis, man. Let the folks know how they can get a hold of you, man.
Just follow me on Instagram or TikTok, Younis, and then last name Dhaher. But yeah, just shoot me a message if you want to connect. That's first of all, shout out to Mike Knight for first inviting us. This was
hell
beautiful.
Yeah, Mike Knight.
Shout out Mike Knight. Follow Mike Knight, man.
This was so dope.
You're a legend, bro. Thank you,
Speaking of, man, Mike Knight. Follow me, Mike Knight Comedy, on all the things. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. We're going to keep bringing you more and more and more. We're going to have these guys back on sooner than later, man. So
let's go.
This has been a Real R.A.P podcast. Love y'all. Bye.
On the road to validation. I hate that I want to be loved, like send me invitations. Just so I can never show up. Call me a bag of the devilish dust. No looking back, I'm in love with the rush. I see the door and I open the door. Now I can sleep without knowing too much, but what's too much? How do you know? You see the scars on my face and my hands, but it's nothing compared to the shape of my soul. Waiting to blow, mean that more than one sense. Don't mean I'm playing the fence, don't mean I'm saying I'm next. Don't think I'm playing the bench, I got the game by the neck. I've been saving time, like minutes roll over. I'm a Motorola.
Real R.A.P podcast.